evening from New York. I'm Selwyn Collins, your host of CWS Journeys. Welcome to another edition. Many thanks to those of you who are joining us for the first time. Our guest this evening, let me just bring on Mr. Maximillian Hamilton. Is the gentleman next to me. Maximillian, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to CWS Journeys.
Good evening, Selman. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
You are quite welcome. If you were not the founder and CEO for Rogue Media Group, what would you like to have been doing for your career?
For my career, I'm a lover of airplanes. I'm an aviator. I'm a U.S. Air Force veteran, and I would say I will be flying through the skies right about now. Yeah, I love planes. I love space. I love anything that has to do with planes. So I think I would probably be an aviator, following my brother's footsteps, who's currently an engineer with American Airlines.
When people are asked to describe you or attempt to describe you, what are some things they say about you that you actually agree with?
I don't know if I can say that on the air, but they would say that I'm honest, I'm loyal, I'm hardworking, I care about people, and I would say a connector. I love to connect people for opportunities.
I see. Connector. I would like you to take us back in time to you growing up as a young man at 9 years old. What did you like to do for fun at 9?
Well, I'm originally from a beautiful place called Jamaica, a small town called St. Catherine, Spanish Town. And at 9 years old, I went to Catholic school. So I was with a few of my buddies. At 9 years old, we were basically mischievous. We would go to the river and have fun. We would play around. But we was always studious. We always went to school and do our best to get the best education that our parents set for us. So at 9 years old, I would say going to the river was fun for us.
So you swim?
Yes.
So take us up the timeline to 16. Who did Max become at 16?
At 16, I learned that I wanted to see the world. I went to a high school that most of my instructors, they were ex-military men. They were Air Force men, Army men, Marine men, most of them served in the Vietnam War. And the stories they would tell us fascinated us. And that actually was an influence on me joining the U.S. Air Force. My teachers in high school had a big influence on me. I wanted to see the world. Mm-hmm. And at the conclusion of high school, I joined the Air Force.
What was that experience like?
Man, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. I mean, it was scary. Mm-hmm. From boot camp to training, to on-the-job training. I had an opportunity to meet some great men and women across the country. Met some great people across the world. And I think that also played an influence on my current career as I play in the diversity and inclusion space.
Awesome. How would you say, and I want to get back into your career, would you say your family contributed to the career path, specifically your mother and father?
My mother and father, they were blue-collar workers, and they stressed hard work and education. And my mother in particular, she was a hard worker, and she always wanted to make sure that we had the right attitude, the right education, the right mind frame, so all her children can advance further. Most of that than they did. My father, he was a leader, but he was also an amazing man. God rest his soul. So family members, uncles, aunts, cousins were all influenced in my life growing up, and also set the path to my career. Specifically, my brother, because my brother was a very studious and educational person.
Mm-hmm. So it really took a village.
Yep, sure did.
Any fondest memories of your parents?
I would say, well, my father, I've never seen him angry but once in his entire life, and that's what would be my first and last butt whooping for my dad. And that was the only time he was ever been angry. My father was always a happy man. So that's my fondest memory of my dad. But he was a great man. I loved him to death. The fondest memory of my mother is when I would say when she couldn't make it to work one day, and I realized that we have to work hard so we could make sure that when our parents retire, we were able to take care of them. So that kind of got me thinking about to be more focused in education and the journey that I'm taking right now of being an entrepreneur. So I think her not going to work that snowy day because of our arthritis kind of let me realize though that I need to double up on my effort to work hard and work smart.
I want to ask you this because you just mentioned seeing your mom in that state was quite a motivator. But for those days when you don't feel like getting up and doing what you want to do or what you need to do, who or what gets you out of that mindset?
Well, my accountant.
I like that answer.
It will remind me that, hey, listen, buddy, I know you're tired. I know the Panthers just lost. If you like getting up, but guess what? When I go to the account and there's no money in the account, then, but no, on a serious note, I think, we all have those days, but, I have a 14-year-old daughter, and I also have a niece, 3 nieces and 3 nephews. And those are who inspire me and motivate me to keep doing what I do, because what I do is not for Maximillian. I do it for, my family and those who are part of my family, my partners, and other family members. So it's not about me.
When you're around your nieces and nephews and you find yourself imparting wisdom and so on, do you ever aware or conscious of channeling your parents?
Not really.
Some of the stuff that they might have told you.
I try to be a little bit different because with this younger generation, what our parents said to us is not necessarily what I can say to them. Because when my mother looked at me, all she has to do is look at me, and I know what's going to happen. When my dad look at me, I know what's coming. With these young folks these days, you look at them, they're like, yeah, and what? So, but the truth be told, I wish I would spend more time with my nephews. They all live in Dallas, Texas, with my brother, and also my nieces. They live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So I think for me, I need to do a better job spending more time with them and influence them. So that's something I'm working on.
You're working on that.
Yeah.
And as an entrepreneur, how valuable, how important is time management?
Oh, listen, there is I don't think she's watching, listening, but there's a woman at my last job, my boss, and she doesn't know it, but she is an influence in my life as it relates to time management, because she stressed that, So at the time working at my last job, I would just like do whatever I want. Time management was not my strength, but when I became an entrepreneur, I realized though it's the key, one of the keys to run a successful business, because everybody's pulling at your time, from suppliers, family members, outside influence.
Yeah.
So you have to know that in business, the most important thing is to be able to manage your time and focus on your customer and what's going to basically bring in the revenue for the business, and also what's going to take care of your customer business.
Well, when did this journey as an entrepreneur actually begin, and what triggered it?
It triggered. It started. I would say in 2000. I want to say 2002 when I first got into media, and never really thought about being an entrepreneur, but I liked the idea of being an entrepreneur. I didn't know what it entails. I met people who were some great business-minded people. They were running their own companies, running multi-million-dollar companies across the country, across the globe. But I think the aha moment for me was at my last job when for the first time in my career, my vacation was denied. And at that time, I was going to see my daughter in Atlanta, and that never happened to me before in my entire career. Not doing my years in the Air Force, doing wartime, doing peacetime, never ever let my vacation time was ever been. So spending time with my daughter was very important. And I realized though, entrepreneur, as an entrepreneur, when you're the boss, you basically control your own destiny, control your own time, and you have the freedom to spend more time with your family. Contrary to what people might think that you work twice as hard as being an entrepreneur, I say I work twice as smart. So now, anytime I want to go see my daughter, I just jump on a plane and I have the freedom to do that.
Wow. Tell us about your entrepreneurship motivation. Why marketing and why communication?
Well, I actually stumble upon marketing, advertising, media, and there's two persons I owe a depth of gratitude for that. First person was my business partner, Darryl Dye. He and I have been running for almost 22 years. We met at Lord & Taylor when we was two young bucks excited about fashion and business. And the other person who actually gave me my inroads to the media world is Mr. Aziz Alitamir, and he's a publisher and CEO of the Network Journal magazine, based here in New York and Nigeria. So when I was exposed to media, I got an opportunity to meet some great people from the New York Times, my good buddy Mark Zoller, my mentor, who taught me about the business of advertising and sales. I will also say, meet some great people from Ebony Magazine, Jet Magazine, Black Enterprise Magazine, AOL Black Voices, Time, Fortune. It was a great experience. And the more I got into media, I will always tell people I have the best job in the whole world. If my boss knew what a good time I'm having, they'll actually have me paid to work there. So I love media. I love advertising. I love the campaigns. When I pick up a magazine, I look at the ads. When I look at television, I look at the ads. I was glued to my television doing Super Bowl and just watching the ads. So I'm an ad man, media, marketing. I love this industry. It's one of the best.
So when you're in the midst of all this media, all this information going on, meeting the personalities, the people who make the decisions, and so on and so forth, what is going on in your mind? Did you realize that all these stimuli were affecting a transformation in this person, transforming you into who you become today, that you're so passionate about media?
Well, again, it's being around positive-minded people. I mean, when I was, growing up, a few years ago, I was at 100 Black Man Gala, and I was sitting at the bar at the Hilton Hotel, and I sat there for a minute. There was three gentlemen sitting across from me, and for a moment there, I reflect from where I came from. I said, "Wow, who would have thought that a young black man will be sitting here at the Hilton Hotel?" So at the bar was the former governor of New York, David Paterson, was Congressman Meeks from Queens, and Michael J. Gardner from MTA. I'm like, wow, I'm right across from these powerful men, and I never would even imagine that I'm holding court with CMOs, Fortune 500 companies, CEOs, and I realized that they're just human beings like I am. They just have the much greater responsibility of leading a larger workforce. So it's amazing, and like I said, I hope a debt of gratitude to the Network Journal and Black Enterprise for that opportunity.
You've given me some points in some questions that I want to ask you. You left and you decided to become your own boss, start your own business and so on. And the trade-off was, okay, your vacation was impacted negatively. But you had to realize, because I've come to know you, quite an intelligent man, quite a practical man.
Appreciate it.
So you have to have realized that you were efficient and proficient in certain things, right?
Yes.
Before you made that decision to move, when did that occur to you that I, Maximillian, know what I'm doing and I can do this?
Well, it happened between the transition from the Network Journal to Black Enterprise. With the Network Journal, it was more of a regional a publication. No, I was terrified of going to Black Enterprise because it was a national platform. I'm now in the big leagues. Not to say that the Network Journal was not in the big leagues because we did have corporate clients, but now I am not just selling print.
Right.
I'm doing multimedia. I'm doing digital, print, events, television, national platforms. So I was a little bit terrified. But when I got a call from my former client at IBM that I serviced at the Network Journal, she was also instrumental in having me, I would say, walk in the door, a rock star. She gave me my first advertisement campaign from IBM, so that was tremendous. And then I realized, you know what, though, it's about relationship. You know, it's not about the stage. You know, it's about the relationship, and that's when I knew I could do this.
For those young people that are listening, glued to the screen, trying to get an understanding of how it works. You mentioned relationship. This is a big thing. What are 2 or 3 points you would want to give them when it comes to relationships in this environment?
Well, relationships are built over time, not overnight. A lot of times people meet people today and they expect something from them tomorrow. I mean, would you plant the seed today and try to reap it tomorrow? No, it takes time of watering and nurturing. And that's what relationships are all about. And it's also being a giver. I was taught to be a giver rather than a taker. And when you become valuable to people, when you're a valuable resource to people, you basically will get what you want from them half the time without even asking. But I think it's very important that people understand when it comes to relationship, it's built over time.
Black Enterprise, Director of Multimedia Sales. Give us a glimpse of your responsibilities.
My responsibility was to keep my bosses off my back.
I like that. When you first got here, you mentioned that this is a bigger platform now.
Yeah.
And the idea of its size and scope can be quite intimidating. When did you become comfortable?
I became comfortable after my bosses, who happened to knew prior to being at Black Enterprise, they really they showed that they were confident in me and they know that I could do the job. So by them reassuring me, hey, listen, you could do this. My colleagues outside of BE over at the New York Times, Mark Zoller, Darrell Dye, they too also ensured me that I could do this. Just, don't worry about it. You'll be just fine. My other colleague, Bob Ingram, who was very instrumental in me getting the job at BE. They also assured me that this is not a problem. Any help that I need, they have an open door policy, and that's when I became comfortable because one, I knew most of the people there already prior to taking the job, so that was a plus.
Black Enterprise, right? We have a mutual friend who pointed out to me that you really only have like 3 or 4 black publications left, right? Of which Black Enterprise is one. Coincidentally or incidentally, I happen to have been in a room with the founder of Essence the other night. Brilliant brother, right? And also, I was at Timing at the time when Timing acquired Essence. And he's still in it for the idea because it's so important for us, for the community, to have media, to have leverage. For those who don't know, what was the culture? What was it like working for a black entity? What is that?
Well, a very, very good question. The fact that I've worked for one of the largest employer of any company, U.S. government, where there's people from all walks of life. Working for a black company, let me say this: the people that I worked with at BE, they were the most brilliant people I've ever worked in my entire life. The staff was amazing. Through thick and thin, no matter how bad the storm was, they still got the job done. So, it was a joy working with those people, both on the management side and also on the workforce side. It was an incredible experience. Again, sometimes I say, if my bosses, and I had many of them, knew how fun I was having, HR would send me an invoice every 2 weeks. So, but like any company always have its challenges. Whether it's a mid-sized company like Black Enterprise or with IBM, there's always office politics. There's always the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's no different than any other company.
How did you manage to keep your head above water in such a demanding job, and such demanding jobs, and at the same time function at a senior level?
Relationship with my colleagues. I also had a professional coach. During those times when I was losing my hair, obviously you see why now, I would need guidance. And I absolutely recommend that young professionals hire a professional coach. Basketball players have coach, baseball players have coach, football players have coach, corporate CEOs have coach. Young professionals should have coach and invest in yourself.
Invest in yourself.
Invest in yourself. I strongly agree because that was, I wish I had known that many years prior to that. I think my career would have been more advanced and accelerated than where it was at the time when I joined Black Enterprise. But during the good times and during not so good times, I was able to seek guidance both from my career coach, as well as colleagues in the industry that were both at Black Enterprise and other departments, and also at other companies like a Time Warner, HBO, New York Times, Ebony. Yeah.
You mentioned invest in yourself. A question you love to ask is, how are you furthering your education? Talk with that for a moment.
Well, a lot of time when people are at the job, there's two type of folks that works in corporate America. Those who wait for things to happen, and those who make things happen. You are responsible for your own career. The job is not responsible to promote you. Your responsibility is to build your brand and promote yourself, whether it's at that company or at another company. So you have to know what you're worth in the marketplace. How do you do that? You do that by investing in your education, whether it's through taking extra classes. Some companies got tuition reimbursement. Do that. Books, videos. You go online, YouTube, and learn a different skill set. I just saw a report that in the next 5 years, robots will dominate the marketplace. Crisis equals opportunity. For those who don't have a skill set in robotics, get it, because your jobs will be replaced.
Robotics.
Yep.